Welcome to BeamNG 0.28. So this is one of the smaller BeamNG updates in a while, especially compared to 0.27, which was literally the biggest BeamNG update ever. Super focused on off-roading, 5 new cars, a new map, better graphics, man, the list just goes on, it's insane. Unfortunately, I've seen many people getting all hyped up about 0.28 being some sort of big racing themed update with pit stops, custom races, a new track. No. 0.28 is kinda small, but it does have a good personality. So, we'll start with the big changes, then we'll go over the smaller but still noticeable improvements, and finally, I'll show you those updates that you wouldn't even know existed unless you read the entire patch notes. And make sure to watch till the end, because I'll be talking about what we could see in the next couple updates. As usual, keep in mind that all the footage is from a pre-release version, and that things may be different once the update comes out. So, the biggest change in 0.28 is the Automation Test Track Remaster. Not gonna lie, I've almost never used this map, simply because it has always looked arse, but now, I think that's gonna change. This remaster includes full PBR materials, new and updated buildings, improved vegetation, and you know what, let me actually show you. In this first shot, the most notable change is the main building itself, followed by much nicer grass, hugely better looking building in the back, they fixed whatever that was, and most importantly, the Fortnite shield potion is now water. And yeah, as you can see when I quickly switch between 0.27 and 0.28, it looks fucking good. At the starting line, however, the improvements are much less noticeable. And yeah, I don't know, it just looks a bit empty. As for the dam area, it's looking much better than before. That electricity post is the exact same, though now it is actually connected to something. And even though the changes here are mostly textures, it makes a world of a difference. And now I'll just shut up and show you a couple more comparisons. And before moving on to the next big change, I want to talk about the performance impact of this remaster. With all this new stuff, you may think that performance would take a hit. But no. In my case, I'm actually getting a couple more FPS, but your mileage may vary. And with the map out of the way, let's talk about the remaster. What? What did I do?
Muye, watch your mouth. This is not a vehicle remaster, this is a vehicle refresh. Now f*** off, and get on with it.
You heard him right. We have a refreshed ETK K series and a refreshed ETK 800 series. What's the difference between a remaster and a refresh? Remastered cars are completely updated from top to bottom in all their aspects, while refreshed cars get a few visual quality improvements, some new parts, and a couple new configurations, while still keeping most of the original model. In fact, so far all the cars that got remastered are the ones that were in BeamNG since the very beginning, while the ones that got a refresh were typically added later on. Now, as you may already know, I despise the 800 series, so let's start with the K. From the back, the most noticeable change is the fact that they moved the fucking camera, making it a lot harder for me to do these comparison shots. But other than that, as you can see, they really didn't do much, apart from updating all the materials. In fact, the biggest change is with the taillights and how they illuminate. And the story is the same at the front. The same mesh, new materials, and updated lights. And inside, again, same model with new materials, with the biggest change being the fucking camera position, which pisses me off. But the interior camera change isn't limited to this car. It's actually a new feature across all cars, which I'll talk about soon. But when it comes to configurations, we actually have a few nice additions. First of all, they updated the naming scheme, which is still as confusing as it was before, but at least we now have horsepower numbers. Nice. As for the new configs, we have a clapped street-tuned version with a nice wing and bolt-on wheel arches, some more focused sport models with brand new bumpers, an updated drift spec, and a full-on race car. And with the K series done, the time has come for me to talk about the 800 series. And before telling you about the new stuff, let me rant for a second. ETK has 3 cars: the I series, the 800 series, and the K series. Can somebody tell me why two of them are named after letters and the other one is named after a number? Devs, just call it something like the L series, because it is the biggest L to ever come out of B. Sorry about that. From the back, luckily there is no camera change, so I can better show you the minuscule, yet very welcome, differences. New materials, improved lights, they moved the aerial thingy forward, and they made it longer? From the front, there's even less of a difference, but you can still notice how they made the roof a little longer. Let's see if we can notice it better from the inside. Too bad they changed the interior, but while looking forward, apart from the improved materials, you can actually notice how the roof extends quite a bit more than it used to. With the new configurations though, this one gets interesting, because we now have a sedan variant, which I don't think anyone was expecting. As for the new configs with the new parts, we have a track-focused version, some new sport models with new bumpers, an updated drift version, and, my personal favorite, two new off-road versions. These are kind of like Audi's Avant line of cars, and man, they are cool if you're 50 years old. Overall, this was a much needed refresh, and as a result, my hatred for ETK has slightly decreased. But devs, please change its name so it's in line with the other two cars. In fact, you know what? If this video gets 50,000 likes, the devs will need to call it the L series, because it is the biggest fucking motor ever come out of BeamNG. And with the big changes out of the way, let's talk about the smaller, but still noticeable improvements. Starting off with openable everything, including your That is right, you can now open all the doors, all the hoods, and all the trunks. My personal favorite being the Widgeon's frunk. I mean, come on, just look at how cute that is. What the? Another good one is the hood on the GTK series, where you have these two animated latch thingies. Very cool. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure there are now new hinge physics and sounds for all of these openable things. For example, look at the Widgeon's hatch and how weirdly it opens compared to something like the Covets. That being said, all this openable stuff is far from perfect. First of all, these boxes, man, I've been complaining about them the millisecond I first saw one. Ugly red boxes. Another bad thing are the latches to open up hoods and engine covers. They're just a box over nothing. And finally, they added openable shit to all the cars apart from the T-Series, which actually leads me to believe we're probably getting a remaster. Next up, there's a new driver camera. So as you saw earlier, I was complaining about the interior camera being in a different position. Well, that is because we have a new driver camera, which is equipped with a feature called the Look Ahead. It's basically a drift cam, and you can change its strength and smoothness from here. Another medium-sized addition are the updates to the user interface. These include tooltips in the force feedback menu, a cleaner looking camera app, your current position in map view, and more visible drop-down menus. Nah, I don't know about this one. Kinda prefer how it was before. We also have a brand new stats tracking system, which you can access from the main menu. And yeah, this shows you a small variety of stats, such as total airtime, how much distance you've driven, what map you've spent the most time on, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sure they'll expand it in the future with things like maximum G-force, average and fastest speed, and how many times you've Jesus! Did you see? That was fucking close. As I was saying, how many times you've been in a fatal crash. And finally, the last medium-sized update are the new off-road trials on Johnson Valley. Not gonna lie, I had quite a hard time finding them, and yeah, you can now go rock crawling while actually having a path to follow. And now, it is time to talk about the teeny tiny changes. First up, AI traffic now uses ray tracing to figure out intersections. Not the ray tracing we wanted, but we'll take it. Then we have two new engines for the absolute boat that is a Brockle Bastion. We also have 18 new missions across all maps. Too bad, I'll fail them all. Another small improvement we got is bug fixes to motion blur. Allegedly. I say allegedly because I didn't see anything fixed here. I'ma have to read the patch notes for this one. And if you two also want to read them, they will be linked in the description. Alongside channel memberships. Please just give me a couple seconds to plug my shit. Wanna spam emojis in my comments? Channel memberships. Wonder how some people can comment under my videos hours before everyone else? That's right, channel memberships. Wanna waste money and have credit card debt? Yes, you can do it with channel memberships. On a serious note, to my existing channel members. Grazie. And the last small change is presets for the frame rate limiter. Never knew I needed this so bad until now. Thank you, devs. And gentlemen, that is all for BeamNG 0.28. But what can we expect for 0.29? And most importantly, when? So this is all speculation, but based on the fact that the T-Series didn't get opened yet, and that we already saw an early implementation of realistic hydraulics back in 0.26, I think it's safe to say we're getting a T-Series remaster in the near future. Now will that be in 0.29 or whatever? I don't know. But what I do know about 0.29 is absolutely nothing. But come on, based on previous updates, it's pretty safe to assume that we'll be getting it sometime this summer. Maybe June. Please devs, please. What I also assume is that the devs are now focusing on wrapping up with these refreshes and remasters so that they can then focus on creating new content, which is actually very exciting.